Welcome to Rising Tide Startups, where we chat with startup founders just like you from all over the globe. Each episode, we bring you practical and actionable tips to help you escape the cubicle and begin your own startup journey. Make sure you take notes. Take it away, Kevin.
Here's a quick word from our sponsor, Podbrand Media.
As a business owner, new sales leads are essential. At Podbrand Media, we create a branded podcast for you to generate those leads by interviewing your best potential clients as subject matter experts. Not only creating great rapport, but also great content to share in your industry. Affordable and effective. Contact us today at podbrandmedia.com to learn more.
This is Kevin Prewett with another episode of Rising Tide Startups, and I have a special guest literally on the other side of the globe right now from me in KL, Andrew Williams. Andrew, thanks for joining us on Rising Tide.
Thanks for inviting me, guys. I'm really happy to be here.
So if you and I were meeting at like a remote networking event, how would you introduce yourself to me?
So I am a global citizen, I guess. I have been traveling quite a while in the past few years, and I also don't believe in the concept of country too much. I can't say I'm a nationalist because I'm coming from a mixed background, and it's quite hard to identify yourself. And I don't want to identify myself because I'm just Andrew Williams, person of the world. I've got my own character. I don't think you should be conditioned by the place where you are born. So I'm a global citizen, I guess. I am part of the global movement of digital nomads and remote workers who don't believe in an office necessarily. And I'm coming from a mixed background. Maybe that's why I've got this adversity towards a state country. So my father is English, my mother is Romanian. I've been in between the two countries for a while, but I actually didn't grow up in any. I was growing up mostly in Denmark and the Netherlands. So I went to some international schools there. And in the past years, I've been working in London in the UK for a while. And then I switched to remote working, and I'm going to tell you all about it today.
So I'm really curious, what was that trigger event, that caused you to say, hey, I don't want to work, in a stationary place. I want to be a little more free. I want to have some freedom around my own occupation. So what was that moment in time that you decided, hey, I've got to get out of here?
Well, I think it came naturally. I wasn't really pissed off on anything. It's just that, I saw the opportunity of living in different places and having different bases around the world, especially in a even more globalized world today. Having two passports very early, and also opportunities and open mind for traveling the world and networking. I was in global hubs as well. I grew up in global hubs, which helps a lot to network and have an open mind. Especially in Europe, you can get in touch with a lot of cultures by default. So that was pretty easy, and I think it just came naturally after uni. And I was traveling with my parents at a young age, so it just came naturally to me, and I started traveling more and more and more, and then the tools became better. Some of the companies were more forward thinking, so then I migrated to remote work since about 7 years ago.
I think I was watching another podcast interview you had done, and you touched specifically on the difference between having a remote job and actually starting your own company. And I think that you advocated, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you advocated that, the safer bet may be to actually start your own company. So touch on the advantages and the disadvantages of both for our listeners that, may be considering, hey, I'd like to work remotely.
Yeah, I would say actually, and I'm advising everyone who wants to go remotely or start their own business, especially when starting your own business, don't quit your job very early. Try to have a remote job or still be a freelance a few days a week if you can, because being an entrepreneur is not easy. You're going to fail a lot of times. Your products might not work as you expected. Your launches will be unsuccessful sometimes. So play it safe, save up some money. Still have like a freelance job, do some side hustles as a freelancer, or have that full-time remote job. And then when you feel confident, you can go and live in a cheaper place, like where I'm right now in Malaysia or in Thailand. You can still live under $1,200 a month, if you can believe that. and then start building your own business. Actually, a smarter way to do it is start your side business or start a business whilst you're employed or doing the freelance, because you need time for it to take off. It's not going to happen in 6 months or a year. I think that's a myth. It's very rare. Unless your product is very, very good and it hits the market very well. So play it safe. That's my advice. And save up that money. Always looking to the future, 3-5 years, and be frugal until you make it. Once you make it and you've got that income or passive income, you're free to spend. Well, again, that comes with other responsibilities, but at least you've made it.
I like that, what you just said, be frugal until you are comfortable, financially. And I think that's wise advice. I think there's so many people that, get that first big paycheck, and then they spend it all. And then the next month may be dry, before they can have that great offer that hits, that causes them to have, a high monthly revenue. But I'd love the idea of starting something on the side, kind of learning what works, what doesn't work, while you still have your, kind of your day job. But also, is there also something about keeping in mind that when you're building this, build it so that it can be run remotely?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to aim for maybe like an online business, an internet business, anything from like consulting online to e-commerce or like a SaaS product, I would say. That's ideal. That's the ideal case. Otherwise, you maybe want to set up like an offline business and leave a manager in place and go there from time to time. I don't know, if I've never done it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should ask people who've done it before. I don't know if that's going to work, or maybe some kind of a supply chain business that could work that way. But other than that, I would say go first for an online business. Try to learn the skills, how to build a website. Try to look for FBA sellers, and try to establish your brand in e-commerce. Consulting can also sell leads. Like if you can create a very good sales acquisition website, that's another good idea.
Right.
You don't have to be anywhere. Everything is digital. Your leads are digital, and then you resell them forward.
Well, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to your journey. Let's say you're in the UK. You're working. What was your transition? How did you do it? Like, walk us through the steps of yours that maybe, there's some learnings we can take from that for others that are further behind you on the journey.
Yeah, so mine was a bit, I would say, my transition was pretty smooth because I've done it old school. So I was employed full-time in an office, and then I changed my job to another company who was hybrid back in 2012, I think, already. So I started going less and less to the office. My manager was really cool. So sometimes I didn't go there for weeks or months even. And then they kind of started asking us in the office again, and then I quit.
Said, I'm out of there.
However, I had some networking in place. Yeah. Because I really love the lifestyle. I was traveling. I was in Mexico, in Argentina. I was working from there. The time zone with the UK was pretty good. I think it was like -3 or something. So I was just waking up morning. It wasn't really bad. I was doing SEO, analytics, and digital marketing. I had like a managerial role. So I had like a two-person team. Obviously, I quit because I didn't want to quit the other lifestyle, the other perk I had. And then I looked for some freelance jobs in digital marketing, and I used some of the networking I had with the agencies in London. There were quite a few. And I managed to get 3-4 days a week contracts, which were paid very decently whilst keeping my costs down in Asia or in South America.
Yep.
And then, I started Remote Tribe as a side hustle about 3 years ago, and now I'm full-time on it. Remote Tribe, for people who don't know, it's a content business. It's a blog about working remotely, everything working remotely, from locations to remote jobs and lifestyle. And I've been doing that since about 3 years ago. I still do some consulting and coaching on the side, but minimal. That was my transition, and now I'm on my own. I have to work hard to keep it running.
So let's talk about Remote Tribe. The remotetribe.life, I think, is the URL. So tell us about that, how that came about. What was the kind of the reason that you created that versus something else?
Yeah, so the digital nomad concept is not a new thing. Basically started, I would say, maybe 10 years ago with the software developers who were working from Bali or from Thailand, trying to hack their way through life. So it's not a new thing. And during COVID, when everyone was ordered to work from home, I was already remote. So I knew this will become big because people will enjoy more time with their family. They will enjoy doing new hobbies, and they're going to have just more free time for themselves. They're not going to have to commute. So no brainer. And then I said, okay, I know a lot about this lifestyle. I want to teach people how to do it. I know there's going to be a big demand for that. And I started writing about it on the side, and the traffic took off. I got a lot of traction on social media as well. The brand, I think it was and still is pretty good, and very inspiring. We get a lot of messages from our viewers that they want to transition, and we're helping people with the visas and with advice. So I'm very happy. For me, it's like a mission, and I'm not saying the future is only remote or to be fully remote, but definitely there are a lot of jobs that can be done remotely. And also there are some people who want to try the lifestyle for maybe a year or two or whatever. Why not? Why not help people? Like, I'm not the person to say, you don't have to go in an office anymore, but at least I can help you have some beautiful years and travel and maybe save up some money and invest them and retire early. Why not?
Yeah. I love that. It's a very short, simple question, but why not? I mean, what's the worst case scenario? You try it, it doesn't work. You've learned, a lot. Your life's richer because of the experience. So I love that just kind of that short, really straight to the point question. Why not? Why not try that? But
yeah, I think people are more and more afraid these days to take risks. I don't know why. Like, we have these comfortable lifestyles, and a lot of people have really a lot of savings or a lot of assets, and they shouldn't really be that worried about their life. I mean, it's their worst case scenario, they just come back home or they just find a new job, and period. Like, if you have some savings, they're going to last you for maybe, I don't know, 6 months, a year, and then there's plenty of time to find a job. I don't see the stress, unless obviously you've got a big family, or that's something else, but that can be planned as well, and also, your partner can help there.
So with Remote Tribe, is this kind of like an affiliate arrangement as well? I mean, you're writing the blog. Do you have like services that you are partnering with, kind of joint venture with on that as well? Like, it's travel services or, housing or, remote jobs, or is that sort of the vibe of the website too?
Yeah, exactly. So we do have an immigration service called Shift, and we help people understand their situation better, and we help them transition to other countries. Then obviously the content is free, but we do work with affiliates, with travel companies and travel gear and stuff like that. And then we also just launched, I mean, it's not that recent, but we launched in January or February. We launched a closed community called Circles, Remote Tribe Circles, where we've got about 80 experts, actually less experts. I think it's less than maybe like 50, but we've got about 80 people in total, and some of them are very seasoned entrepreneurs. Some of them are very seasoned digital nomads. Some of them are life coaches. So everyone who comes in there, they can get help. It's more than a Facebook group. It's quite private, and I met some of the people in real life, and we're probably going to have like a get together maybe at the end of the year somewhere. So we help people in there as well. And I'm also building a no-code academy right now to teach people how to build digital products, websites, web apps. So it's coming very soon, and I'm very excited about that because I think no-code is something that will change the world again. Everyone can be a developer these days, more or less, which is fantastic. So that again unlocks the opportunity to work from anywhere, run your business from anywhere. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's a new world. It is a new day. With Chat GPT, with AI, I'm just crazy stuff out there.
Yeah,
But
on top of that.
on top of
Yeah.
that, exactly right. So I am curious on the when you launched this, launched the blog a couple years ago, what has been the growth? I mean, how many people are subscribing to the blog? How many people are in your community? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so like opening up a content business, it's the long game. So
Uh-huh.
people have to remember this. Like, guys, be persistent and work hard. Like it's hard work. I've been doing this for 3 years. There's really no shortcuts, especially when you work with Google, social media, all these engines that they use the algos and they rate your content. And the more you create and the more you write, the more you edit, the more you get indexed and you get the lead. So basically, it took me about, I would say, 8 months to get indexed by Google seriously, to see some spikes in traffic, I would say. So 8 months, guys, writing almost like maybe 2 or 3 articles per week. Yeah, like big articles. You don't have to write every day, but they have to be on point, informative, original, well written, have pictures and videos, stuff like that. So proper. And it took Google 8 months to notice me, and then it's just gradually growing since then. It's very hard to get the hockey sticks these days unless you have like a few breakthrough articles, but it's very hard because the internet is very crowded these days.
Yeah, it
so
is
it's not
very
that
noisy.
easy.
Yeah.
It's very noisy, yeah. So you want to find your niche, like there are a lot of niches, and I'm sure the audience has read about them, but maybe try to go for a sub niche of a niche. These days it could be faster. So maybe, I don't know, accessories for cars, or like accessories for Mercedes or stuff like that. That's just an example. Or like, I don't know, some kind of kitchen accessory or anything like that could rank higher, because the more niche you are, the more space you have to grow, and you can just blanket that subject and topic on in different ways. So that's on the written side. Then on the video side, I can't tell you too much because I haven't done too much video. I'm just starting right now. But again, from what I've heard from other experts and my experience, it's also a long game there. So start today, start yesterday if you can.
That's
because it's gonna take, I would say, at least a year until your brand gets noticed. And then you have to start building on top of that. Then you have to kind of fine tune your funnel. Are you an acquisition website? Are you an e-commerce? Like, how do you sell your products through the content? Like, your content should have a conversion point all the time. Is it a coaching call? Okay, then get leads. Is it a sale of a product? Okay, then put your product first or advertise that product. Is it a SaaS? Do something around that software as a service that you offer, like any kind of content. So people, meet that need with the content. People will see the content, and then they will see your brand. That's how it should work. And then you'll see the money. But don't think too much about the money. Think about the brand as a baby. Do something that you like, and just go for it. Stay there. You have to be in the game for some while. Like, honestly, like, from what I see, like, established brands have been there for years, and they've been there because they've been there, and they've been very
consistent.
They've very consistent at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, the idea of and we've heard it over and over and over again. This niche down until it hurts, type thing, where you almost think like, I don't have a market anymore. It's so narrow, but it's amazing with 7.4 billion people
there's some
on the planet. There's a market
as well, because some of the niche. Yeah, it can be difficult there as well, because some niches or sub niches can't really be monetized. So that's a trap. And I would advise people, if they really don't see any movement after 6 months, just quit and start something else. And by the way, you're going to be very disappointed as an entrepreneur a lot of times. So
keep after
it. Keep after it. Exactly. And there's nothing bad in starting like 2 businesses, but just make sure you dedicate time to both of them.
If you just woke up tomorrow and Remote Tribe didn't exist, the blog didn't exist, your affiliate links, whatever, what would you do to start to make money right now?
So you're saying as any kind of business, or
Any kind of business,
like a
doesn't
content
matter.
business?
Yes, you just say, you know what, I don't have a job right now. I've got to start something because I've got to pay my rent in KL.
Yeah, I would just do a coffee shop. I will open a coffee shop somewhere in Vietnam, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, or in Thailand. I'm kidding. No, I think having a fancy cafe. I think I still the idea, considering the price of the coffee has gone up anyway. But I would probably. It's a good question. So I know creating SaaS products. SaaS, it's something that I really want to do, but it's very difficult. I think it's very difficult. So that will be probably my next venture. But I would say still something related to e-commerce, like a shop, like an interesting product, or some kind of interesting service that you can provide to people. Also, I think there is a excess of coaches on the market. So I don't know if I would like to do coaching, but I think e-commerce is still at it, and it still has a future. There's so many good tools out there to do as well. Like I've designed websites and e-commerce solutions for a while. It's easier, so you don't have to be an expert. Again, like no code, you've got Shopify, WordPress, Magento, very good tools. You can learn maybe in like 3 months on the go, so no problem. But that would be my advice. And also, try doing content around that business as well, because I think the content creator economy is absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge, and it's going to get even bigger.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. I am curious, like if I asked this question on a lot of our episodes when I talk to startup founders like yourself. I am curious, do you think that you have the entrepreneurial DNA in you? You think you have a genetic disposition?
I don't believe that. No, I think it's a myth. I think there is a hard disposition to risk for crazy people like me. I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't. But there's definitely people who are inclined to take more risk, and I'm one of that. I mean, knowing me, I've done trading as well on like big amounts. Sometimes I lost, sometimes I won. I don't have a home basically. So I do take a lot of risks. So I think that's maybe part of that gene, but I don't think that gene really exists. I don't know what this says. I think it's more about discipline and taking risks. I think it's a combination of these two.
Yeah, that's great. I like that answer. It is interesting. I mean, I think that it's almost like a weird combination of a lot of things, where it's, I think even genetically, are you genetically predisposed to taking risk versus not taking risk? So I think it's all kind of a little bit of a
maybe it goes as deep as there.
Mixed message, but that's a great answer. That's a really interesting answer. I want you to speak to those.
And another thing.
Go ahead,
Kevin. Sorry. Another thing I think is part of the mix is, what did I? Sorry, I forgot. Yeah. I'll remember later.
It'll come back. I'll give you space. Okay. That's right. So talk to those people that are like sitting in a cubicle somewhere that are dreaming of, sitting in a hotel room in KL talking on a podcast. What would be one or two things that you would tell them right now that you think would be really helpful to them to kind of start this journey toward where you are?
Yeah, I would say start early. So start doing something on the side as soon as possible, because time is flying by, and you're probably going to have kids if you don't have already, and you're going to have even less time. So please start doing something now. Learn a skill and build a website. Start filming and doing content. Start, creating a landing page and get leads. Start learning about how to do Facebook campaigns and build a website so you can get, clients. That's definitely, I think it's a very, very good piece of advice, because the more you do, the more you learn, and you're going to reach a point where you know very well what you're doing, and then some great things will come. Like for me, I started building and creating, and I got interviews like yours, I met some amazing people from all over the world in my locations. I'm always networking when I travel. Even here in KL, I had some business meetings from LinkedIn and from Twitter, if you can believe that. So start early and build something. And it's so different from a full-time job. I mean, honestly, after you become an entrepreneur, like they're literally two different worlds, because there's no one telling you what you have to do. And also you've got the budget that you have to stick to. You have to manage your life. It's really a grown-up thing.
I love it.
It's really serious business.
A grown-up thing. I love that. It's really a grown-up thing. What a way to wrap it up today. Oh man, Andrew, thank you for just taking time. We've touched on the things that we certainly wanted to make sure that we shared with our audience, because I just love this remote space, and we've talked about a lot of things. But is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you just kind of would like to wrap us up with, and then tell people where the best place to find you online is?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Yeah, it was great to be here, and I'm happy I was able to share some of my entrepreneurial ideas and my history. So hopefully I'm going to inspire some people. So I think you touched a lot of good points. Just to wrap up, I think it's not an entrepreneurial gene that people have. I think it's a lot of hard work, dedication, and discipline. And also, I remember now what I wanted to say as the third factor. It's put yourself in situations where you have to succeed. So I had times when I didn't have enough money, so I was barely surviving, I mean, I wasn't at the stage where I was homeless, but I knew that my finances are running over, so I have to work hard. So that really helped me a lot and gave me like a really big push. So I don't know, just try, if you have some savings, try to invest some of them so you can't touch them, and then you're gonna be fine in a situation where you really have to do something about business or move the needle, because otherwise the option is to go back to work, right? So that's one of the reasons why I went freelance as well, because it's not as comfortable as being an employee, so you don't have a paycheck. So again, I put myself in a situation where I have less work, hence less money, but I have more time to do the side gig.
Right.
So I think that's it. That's the takeaway, I think, for the people.
Love that.
And
Love
in
that.
terms of contacting me, you can find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter. It's Andrew from Remote Tribe. Please visit our website at remotetribe.life and /remote jobs. We've got thousands of jobs from software development to marketing and operations. And also join our Circles community. I'm going to send you the link, Kevin, so you can give it to the people who are listening to the podcast. And thanks a lot for bringing me here. It's great.
Hey, I will certainly have that link in the show notes. Just send it to me. We'll make sure it gets in there. But man, I appreciate you taking time. I know it's late in KL right now, and you stayed up to just for this episode. And man, just thank you again for just the value you shared, and really for playing your part in helping all boats rise in a rising tide. Andrew, have a great weekend.
Thanks a lot. You too, Kev. Take care.
We hope you heard some great takeaways. Make sure you follow up with our guests today and show them the support they deserve. As always, thank you for listening and playing your part in helping all boats rise in a rising tide.